I'm presenting you the topic regarding Climate Fresco. So this is a kind of a game to let you know more about the climate change. And from this game, you can see directly how is the impact of climate change, and also how we can handle it at the end of this training. But before starting, let us see what is Climate Fresco. As I said, it's a kind of game. So in order to take action and build solutions, we first need to understand the problem. But what problem? This is a different problem related to the problem of climate change. So Climate Fresco is a powerful tool for providing a quality climate education. So it is inaccessible to anyone. So if even you are not a climate change expert or a person working regarding to environment or sustainability, you can access to this game, and you can check their website, and it can be scaled quick within an organization also or a company. So how it works? So today, this is what we are going to do. Usually it takes 3 hours, but as our time is limited, I have make a resume for this Climate Fresco. Then it can also be done in person or online. And in this game, we can create one facilitator for 6 or 20 participants. But in our case, we will take it as individual. So you can think when I say you are thinking about the subject, then you can think, and it will help you to understand more about the subject. And there is different versions for adults and for children. The main goal, the main goal of our training today is not to turn you into a climate expert, but into a facilitator of the Climate Fresco. It means that you can know, understand, and be able to explain the cause and effect of a relationship between various climate change phenomena. You can also be able to guide a group through a process of active pedagogy and collective intelligence. You can also be able to maintain the piece of workshop and guide different participants and know how to lead the discussion phase regarding this Climate Fresco, and finally know how to conclude the exercise on a positive and active note. So usually we made the Climate Fresco in person, so I form a different group, but in your case, as I said, it will be individual for each one. But you can note that we will not see of climate change in detail. We just see how is the best, the main process to let you understand it more. And you can check for to deepen understanding. You can check the MOOC or the fellow of a Fresco pathway. This is a link to the website. You will also be able to access this training material, and at the end of training, I can share you this presentation, so then you can have more access and more understand the topic and check it very well. But what is sometimes why it is complicated to talk about climate change? Because we know that climate change is sometimes difficult because there is a different issue. It is a complex subject because it is a scientific subject and it's sometimes difficult to understand it. It is often divided because different people have a different opinion regarding it. And sometimes it's anxiety and inducing, but it is very strategic. And understanding the climate change is really important. What is the main origin of this Climate Fresco? This Climate Fresco is created in 2015 during a course by Cedric Ringedam. It is the former director of Chief Project. And after distributing the IPCC graphics, he tried to reorder them from different cause and different effect, and he found that the exercise was effective pedagogically. And thanks to that, he have created the Climate Fresco in 2018. The Climate Fresco tool began to be disseminated by Parisian facilitators. So, how is the origin of the association? The association is created in December 2018. La fresque du climat, what we said generally in French, which was created to accelerate the workshop. And actually, there is a different session regarding Climate Fresco, and it comprises a board of directors composed of a representative panel of the community and chaired by Anaïs Terren since March 20 and 24. So the objective of this association of Climate Fresco is to accelerate the understanding of climate issues worldwide, to contribute to triggering the necessary shift as soon as possible for preservation of life. So, what are the founding principles? We have 4 main founding principles for Climate Fresco, which are science respect, humanism, climate emergency, and transparency. And today, these are the main important points regarding Climate Fresco. It sensitizes about 1.5 million of individuals. There is 157 engaged countries, about 17,000 volunteers, and it is about 15 languages, and different organizations and communities have already joined it. So let me present you this workshop of Climate Fresco to let you understand more, and I ask you to think more when you present each topic. The main advantage is it's playful because there is a different card we exchange during the game, and it's collaborative because we do it in a different group, and the group should work together. It's visual because there is a different card we share during the game, and it's also creative because you need to think about each topic to let you understand more. It's simple because all the words related to the topic are not very difficult. Transformative because each topic in each court are really understandable, but scientific because the climate change, as I said, is very scientific and non-partisan. But firstly, what is IPCC? If we explain it in our words, IPCC, we said also Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. It is established in 1988 by the United Nations. It evaluates available scientific, technical, and socioeconomic information in a non-partisan and objective manner related to the issue of climate change. And it publishes assessment reports every 5 or 6 years and interim special reports. The annual budget of IPCC is around 6 million euros, funded by UN members of states independently and voluntarily. No voter or member of the IPCC Bureau is paid for the work. This is really important because it is an independent and volunteer organization. And to get more details about the report from IPCC, you can check their website, and they will give you different access to climate change news and assessment also. What are the main objectives of our workshop then? So the objective is first to debate and trigger action. Decipher in the respect of the science, debate with kindness, and trigger action to address the climate emergency. These are the main principles. But our camp will be done individual and online. So it's important that you think by yourself. This is an example of a workshop. If we create it in a group, so these are the different members of a group, about 4 to 5 members, and there will be, usually there is an animator in each group, and they share different equipment to use for the game, and they distribute different cards for each table. And usually the game take 3 hours. These are the different phases of climate change, of Climate Fresco. First, after distribute the card, we make a reflection. It means that from each card distribute, we need to find the relation of them. And then for the phase 2, we create and synthesize. It means that for each card done, we make summarize, and it concerns also emotions, because each member of a group will have a different opinion, so they need to discuss together. And finally, it's about discussion and take action. Take action related to climate change, and also what we can do every day to tackle this climate change. It can do in-person facilitation for online facilitation. These are the different timeline for the game, but in our case, we will not consider this time because it will be just a presentation of a Climate Fresco. There is it can be done at a different COP. COP, for example, a different event related to climate change to help people going there to be involved in the climate change action. So the main base of this Climate Fresco is the greenhouse effect. So I don't know if you, it's very famous actually. It's the main base of climate change. So if you know more about the greenhouse effect, so it's really important. That's why this Climate Fresco is based on the greenhouse effect. So what is it? It's a process that occurs when gases in Earth's atmosphere trap the sun's heat. There is a natural greenhouse effect, but there is also additional greenhouse effect. This process makes Earth much warmer than it would be without an atmosphere. And the greenhouse effect is one of the things that makes Earth a comfortable place to live. So it means that you can see in this picture the Earth and the atmosphere. Usually there is a gas absorbed by the sun, but in the case of additional climate change, the different gases here in the atmosphere are very high. So it creates the process of greenhouse effect. It means that the sun, all the temperature given to the sun cannot be absorbed by the gas in the atmosphere. So there will be higher temperature here. This is the picture. You can see a higher temperature, and this is the process of greenhouse effect. And in the atmosphere, there are different gases like carbon dioxide, protoxide of azote, and also methane. And all these gases that we can say greenhouse gases. And the most important of them is the carbon dioxide. That's why it's the main important gas we can hear at the moment. And this is the beginning of different action actually, like carbon sequestration or carbon offset project. Let's start the game. First, this first step, I will give you different chords. Then you can think more how to put them together and what of their relation. So, for human activities, there are different activities which can be done to human, and from them you can think, for example, agriculture, transport, transformation of food. All this process can lead to higher gas emissions. So if you see that there is about 20% of these activities lead to 25% of this gas of these human activities can get different gas emissions, and the most important is from agriculture. And then for this agriculture process, 80% leads to the main gas emissions. Gas emissions that lead us to these carbon dioxide emissions. It's the first greenhouse gas emissions. And this carbon sinks, you can see in these pictures below. It also different point of source of gas from the oceans, atmosphere, and the photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process of from trees which absorb carbon dioxide during night and emit oxygen. Another source of emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, like methane and N2O. It's also from agriculture. For example, from the from the from different cows and also different gases we can get from the inputs used during agriculture production. Another activity for 20%, you can think the building usage is also most important because in building, especially in developing countries, they use temperature and also electricity to get a higher temperature during the winters, and in that case, it can lead also to higher greenhouse gas emissions, especially from the use of electricity. And 40% of the source is from industry. For example, the process of food, the process of mechanic, and also process, chemical process. And 50% is from transportation. When we use different car, which use fossil fuels, it can lead to higher carbon emissions. So this three, building usage, industry, transportation, it shows it burn fossil fuels, and the main fossil fuels used here are coal, oil, and gas. And this we call fossil fuels. And they can lead to higher carbon emissions. And also, but the industry, transportation lead also to aerosol emissions. This is different emissions from the air, and this can also lead to higher carbon emissions. Now, let's see the next process. This the last process you have seen before here. And we continue this by when we get higher carbon emissions. It is the different concentration of carbon. You can see here it will be higher, and it depends on the country and also on the activity done by each country. But usually it's higher in developing countries because if we see the human activity there, all these are very developed activities. That's why all developed activity country are the more involved with this activity and with carbon emissions. And that's why actually also they always try to reduce their activity and make carbon offset projects. And when the concentration of CO2 is higher, it leads to additional greenhouse effect. The one that I have explained before. So it means that the concentration of carbon in the atmosphere are really higher, and it's difficult to the sun. There is no protection from the atmosphere, and the temperature is getting higher. And the carbon sink also, it can also lead to ocean acidifications. It have an impact in the ocean. And when there is a greenhouse effect, additional greenhouse effect, the temperature in the world will rise, and this temperature which rise will lead to rise in also temperature in the water. It can also melt ice sheets in different ice and melting glaciers and also melting the sea ice. These are the main impact when we use different activities. Usually we use every day. All of us are impacted in this activity, in this source of emissions. And when we use a lot of them, a lot of activities which higher the carbon emissions, we will raise the temperature, and we will have all of this impact. And the main impact is from the water and the ocean. When we have this the last process, when the temperature rises, it also disturbs the water cycle, the cycle of water. And also the sea level will also rise because all of the ice or melt, ice from water, glaciers and the sea ice. So the sea ice level will rise, and at the moment it is really extreme because the higher of temperature, the average global sea level has raised since 1990. But the problem from water cycle have also an impact in terrestrial biodiversity, and an impact also to the world, because there will be drought caused from enough water, and also there will be problem from the climate timeline, and there will be cyclones, and there will be a river flooding in different countries. We can see here at the moment a different problem like that, and drought, especially in the south of the world, and river flooding in different developing countries, and the cyclones which are not on the timeline in the tropical areas. And if the sea level rise, It can lead to coastal flooding in a different area near the beach, and a different impact from this area. When you get this process, the last process here, this is the best, the end of the game. When we are here, the first process is the human activities, which lead to different gas emissions. First process, and also it leads to impact in the soil, and also impact in the climate change, because all the temperature has changed, and there is impact to the wall, to the soil, and also impact to water. And most important is impact in most extreme climate, and impact on the biodiversity, and health, because all the animals in the world are impacted. And finally, there is an impact to the human here, impact on food, because the food will be reduced, and also impact to the health of people around the world. It can also lead to the war, and different world war. So yes, Dr. Chen, I can hear you, but let me just end my presentation, then you can ask your question. Here, so to summarize, when we have different activities using greenhouse gas, which have impact to all the all the planet around the world, and the impact to animals, and the impact also to us. So it's up to us to take actions from the moment to reduce all our activities which can use carbon emissions, and also then we can take action from all of us. So this is the end of my presentation. If you have any question, then I will be available to answer. I hope it has help you to understand more about the climate change, and I'm available to answer to our question if needed. So thank you for listening me.
Thank you, Niaf. We have a question from Dr. Jane. So let's hear what you have to say.